Hey YouTube, Trashy here, and it is about time for another Stardew Valley tips and tricks video. Today we are tackling a new festival added in version 1.6, the Calico Desert Festival. Now, you probably know what's coming if you clicked on this video, but just in case, please be aware that this video is for sure going to contain spoilers. At least 2 of them. As per usual, I do have to remind everyone that there is no wrong way to play Stardew Valley, and if you don't believe me, go check out the official Stardew Valley guidebook. The first sentence in the first chapter is literally, there is no wrong way to experience Stardew Valley, so there. With that out of the way, let's talk about the Calico Desert Festival. This festival happens on the 15th, 16th, and 17th of every spring, but in order to get there, the bus stop must be repaired. Repairing the bus stop requires completing the vault in the community centre for 45,500 gold, plus completing 4 bundles first to unlock access to the vault. Or, if you're doing the Jojo Mart route, buying it for 40,000 on top of what you pay to sign up. Now, for casual players, this is an insane thing to expect to unlock before the first festival begins. It can be done with min-maxing methods, but that is not what this video is about. If you want to take your time, you take your time, and if you unlock the festival by your 2nd year, great. If it takes you longer, that's fine too. As long as you are enjoying yourself, it does not matter. If y'all did want a sort of min-maxing guide on how to unlock Calico Desert in your first spring, or for any other aspect of Stardew Valley, just let me know in the comments. It might come as a bit of a surprise to y'all, but I actually do enjoy min-maxing in games, especially when I play Stardew Valley on my own for fun. Back to the festival. Regardless of how long it takes you to get there, once you do get there, it's pretty easy to get overwhelmed with all there is to do with such little time. So let's take a look at how to get the most out of your Calico Desert festivals. This festival has many events and stalls aimed at winning calico eggs, which you can then trade in for rewards at various shops around the festival. These eggs can be accumulated over the 3 days of the event, so you don't need to spend them per day, but they do disappear after the event is over, so unfortunately you can't stock up on them for the next year. The main areas that you can earn calico eggs are at the races, from Willy's fishing quest, and from the Skull Cavern quest that Marlin posts each day of the festival. Now, while this event technically opens at 10 AM, you can use a desert warp totem or the desert obelisk if you have it to get there first thing in the morning. Most of the stalls and events won't open until 10 AM and some won't open until even later. However, 2 of the most time-consuming events can be started as early as 6 AM if you get there in time. You can find Marlin at a stall near the entrance to Skull Cavern, offering 2 different Skull Cavern related quests to pick from. You can start this quest first thing in the morning and be out by the time the festival fully opens if you've prepped for it, which we'll talk about in a little bit. You can also accept Willy's fishing quest from this sign here and have it completed before he even gets to the festival if you want to. Another great tip for maximizing time is to leave a chest in the entrance to Skull Cavern so you can drop any extra items off without having to waste time going home and coming back. During events, Stardew Valley maps are essentially replaced with the event map, meaning that anything that you leave outside in the desert, such as kegs or chests, won't be reachable during the festival, but they will reappear once the festival is over. The entrance to Skull Cavern is not affected by this though, so you can leave a chest there no issue. I like to also keep a Junimo chest here connected to the one that I have at home, where I keep all of my Skull Cavern related stuff. When it comes to the items you should bring with you, you will need a fishing rod and some bait for Willy's fishing quest, preferably deluxe or wild, and you will also want to bring a nice stack of bombs or maybe a slingshot with explosive ammo, staircases, and some food in order to tackle the Skull Cavern, as well as your usual weapon and pickaxe. You'd also do well to bring the best luck buff food that you can find with you, but we will talk a little bit more about that in a bit. Speaking of maximizing time, you can also get meals from the chef at any time of day for free, and depending on the choices that you pick, you will get different buffs to help you with your quests. These buffs stack on top of the buffs that you've already gained from normal food, so it is a great way to make the most of your Skull Cavern runs. There are a total of 21 different dishes, and each choice that you pick determines one part of the buff that you receive. You can get defense, mining, luck, attack, fishing, and speed buffs with a maximum of 2 from this list. First, the chef will ask if you want the following: Hardy beans for a +3 to defense, Cave loaf for a +3 to mining, rare fruit for a +3 to luck, extremely sharp cheddar for a +3 to attack, or shrimp for a +3 to fishing. Next, he will give you a choice of ingredients depending on what you first chose. Rich marinara for a +1 to defense, mushroom cream for a +1 to mining, cherry syrup for a +1 to luck, pungent garlic for a +1 to attack, and uncomfortably hot sauce for a +1 to speed. Now, whatever buff you choose the first time around, keep in mind that that same buff won't be a choice the second time. For example, if you pick hardy beans with a +3 to defense as your first choice, you won't be able to pick rich marinara for an additional +1 to your defense. All of the buffs you get from the chef last 7 minutes, and you can come back as often as you want to change your buffs depending on what you want to do. For example, I like to get rare fruit and uncomfortably hot sauce for a +3 to luck and a +1 to speed right before taking on the Skull Cavern. or shrimp for +3 fishing and cherry syrup for +1 luck for Willy's fishing quests. Mind you, neither of these meals sound very appealing. I wonder if they'll be included in the next edition of the Stardew Valley cookbook. Speaking of buffs being useful for festival quests, let's talk about the Skull Cavern. Like we mentioned before, you can get to the desert first thing in the morning, get your buffs from the chef, and start going at the Skull Cavern whenever you like. Marlon will have 2 quests for you to choose from out of a possible 3, a monster hunt, a deep dive, or a treasure hunt. The monster hunt involves slaying 10 of a particular monster, serpents, purple slimes, or mummies, and the reward is 35 calico eggs. The treasure hunt involves collecting either 12 omni geodes or 15 iridium ore with a 40 calico egg reward. And lastly, the deep dive quest is pretty straightforward. You have to get to level 30 of the Skull Cavern and you will be rewarded with 50 calico eggs for your troubles. Aside from the calico eggs received for completing these quests, if you talk to Gil, he will give you a reward once per day based on your egg rating in the Skull Cavern. Your egg rating is mainly determined by how far you get in the cavern, and it is where the real calico eggs are at. For every 5 levels that you advance in the cavern, your egg rating goes up by 1. It also goes up by 1 for every one of these festival unique calico cat statues that you interact with. But bear in mind that these cat statues also have the chance to apply neutral, positive, and negative effects to your run, such as granting you extra calico eggs, speed buffs, and fully healing you up, but also increased enemy spawns, nasty debuffs, and extra dangerous enemies. If approached in the right way and with a little extra luck on your side, you can get 500 calico eggs and a magic rock candy as a reward from Gil if you reach egg rating 55 or above. You also get this amazing portrait of shocked Gil. The eyes are truly a masterpiece here. Concerned Ape, you have outdone yourself. Now, an egg rating of 55 would mean reaching floor 275, assuming that you haven't activated any calico cat statues, which is absolutely doable if you have the right equipment. Now, for some people, the right equipment might mean a nasty stack of staircases. Hi, it's me, I'm some people. But for those of you who don't have the luxury of duplicating jade in your shed full of crystallariums, there are a few things that you can do to maximize your run. First of all, daily luck influences how often you find ladders and holes to fall down, so getting your hands on food that gives you a good luck buff is a good place to start. Remember that buffs that you get from the chef also stack on top of your normal food buffs, so take advantage of this. If possible, the best combination of luck foods is a magic rock candy and a ginger ale for a total of +6 to your luck, and if you get fancy with it and make your ginger ale with Key's seasoning, it's a total of +7 to luck. Magic rock candies are hard to come by, but can be farmed from a couple of different sources with enough effort. If you'd like a guide on how to basically guarantee yourself at least 1 magic rock candy a week, let me know in the comments. On the other hand, ginger ale is an end game recipe, and because it's a drink, it won't cancel out the buff that you get from eating food. If magic rock candy and ginger ale are a bit too out of your way, spicy eel is probably the easiest to make recipe, requiring 7 hearts with George and with a +1 to luck and speed. However, pumpkin soup gives a +2 to luck and speed and can sometimes be bought at the Star Drop Saloon. Both of these dishes, plus the Lucky Lunch, can be bought at the Calico Egg Merchant, although they're chosen at random from a list of 5 dishes, so you're not guaranteed to get a lucky meal. Plus, the merchant doesn't open until the festival opens. I recommend checking it out at the end of the day and stocking up on luck buff foods for your next run. Another thing that influences how often you find staircases is simply the amount of rocks that you break. The more rocks that you break, the more chances of staircases and holes appearing. Now this is where those bombs come in handy. You can use bombs on large clusters of rocks or well-aimed explosive ammo from a slingshot to make your way down the cavern much quicker while also using a lot less energy. If you take on the cavern at the start of the day and you have plenty of resources on you, it's a pretty easy way to make a decent amount of calico eggs, between the quest, the egg rating rewards, and the eggs that you can find in the cavern itself. Here's a fun fact about Gil's rewards. If you somehow manage to get an egg rating that is 1,000 or over and attempt to submit it to Gil, you will get this message. You hear a voice in your head. It would be dishonorable to submit an egg rating acquired through the use of cheat code software. Now, a rating of 1,000 would mean going down 5,000 floors, assuming that you're not activating any of the Calico statues. I know you might not believe me, but this is technically possible to do. In fact, as far as I'm aware, the record for deepest Skull Cavern run without the use of cheat code software, as the game puts it, is 11,187 floors by a player named Albino Chipmunk. They did not use any mods or cheat code software at all for this run, just a lot of staircases and some very clever exploits available in the base game itself, such as pause buffering when moving from floor to floor. So technically, it can be done, but heavy on the technically. Let's move on to Willy's quest. Willy's fishing quest is pretty straightforward. On the 15th, he will ask you to catch him 3 sandfish for 25 calico eggs. On the 16th, he asks for 1 scorpion carp in return for 50 calico eggs. And on the 17th, he's looking for his golden bobber, which appears in the first treasure chest that you find for 30 calico eggs. It's very important to note here that neither sandfish nor scorpion carp can be caught after 8 PM, and they are the only two fish that you can catch here, so you won't be able to get the golden bobber either. If you want to do these quests, make sure that you keep an eye on the time or use magic bait past 8 PM to bypass the time limit. Better bait such as wild or deluxe bait will also increase your chances of hooking fish rather than trash, and of course the fishing buff from the chef comes in really handy here. Now let's talk about the races. You can also earn calico eggs at the racetrack by betting on which contestant you think is going to win. This is largely decided by RNG and you only get 20 eggs per win. However, there are a couple of ways to skew the odds in your favor. There's a shady looking guy chilling over by Sandy's Oasis. No, not him, the other guy. Who you can give one calico egg to rig the race and potentially cause one of the racers to lose. But it's not always guaranteed. There will always be 3 racers chosen from a pool of 5, with one of the possible racers being Escargot, a snail, which is just a beautiful name by the way. This snail is actually the slowest racer of the bunch, and although it can still win a race, a pretty safe bet is to pay the suspicious man to make one of the racers that isn't Escargot lose and then bet on the remaining contestant. However, if you really feel like the odds are in your favor, you can also bet on Escargot. The first winning bet on Escargot on each day of the festival will net you 100 calico eggs, but it is the slowest racer, so it's not entirely a sure bet. I tend to stay away from the races during the festival simply because there's not really enough time to do everything, and if I'm being honest, the Skull Cavern is the quickest and easiest way to get all of the eggs that you will ever need. There are a few more eggs hidden around the place. You can talk to this man over here, known as the Scholar, for a chance to win some eggs. He will ask you a series of 4 questions, all related to Stardew Valley, and if you answer all 4 correctly, he will give you 50 calico eggs. These 4 questions are pulled from a list of 30 possible questions, and if you don't feel like testing your Stardew Valley knowledge, you can find all of the answers on the Stardew wiki. If you do feel like testing your knowledge, you can come back each day of the festival to try again if you make any mistakes, and the questions will be the same. You can also check this trash can here on each day of the festival for another 5 to 8 eggs, and there's no need to worry about anyone being disgusted by your dumpster diving because the only person that ever sees you is Linus, and we all know that he's chill with it. There's also another little secret hidden behind this tent here. Oh, wait a second. Subscribe, please. How did that get there? Only 6% of people that watch me are subscribed to my channel? That doesn't seem right. I gotta fix that. Maybe you should subscribe. Please. And thank you. If you're in the market for a brand new outfit, you can head down to Emily's Outfit Services, where she will dress you in an outfit that, according to her, embodies you perfectly. Just step into her cardboard office, and she will give you a different makeover each day of the festival. There are a total of 61 possible outfits that Emily can dress you in. 34 are gender neutral, 13 are male only, and 14 are female only, usually consisting of a top, a bottom, and a hat, although not all outfits have hats. There are a few items of clothing that can only be found through the festival, including the Joja Cola cap, the dark ball cap, the laurel wreath crown, tight pants, and an ever so slightly different version of the basic pullover. A pro tip if you're looking for new outfits is to visit the Desert Festival with no clothes on to begin with, aside from your shoes for your defense buff. This can help you save space, as whatever clothes that you're wearing when Emily gives you your makeover will go directly to your inventory. Now, when it comes to spending your hard-earned eggs, you can buy a wide range of items from the egg merchant that sets up in the desert. They have a permanent stock of goodies that stays the same on each day of the festival, including unique items such as the mummy mask, the blue bow, and the dark velvet bow, none of which can be found anywhere else. The merchant also has a rotating stock for each day of the festival, consisting mainly of Calico Desert themed items, most of which can only be purchased here during the festival. Most notably, on the first and last day of the festival, the 15th and the 17th, this trader sells strawberry seeds for 5 and 6 eggs respectively. Now, this does not leave you with much time to plant your strawberries, but it is a great way to stock up on seeds for next year or for filling out your greenhouse. This merchant also has 1 magic rock candy for sale for 250 calico eggs on the last day of the festival. Now, I know this is a lot of eggs, but if you have any left over at the end of the festival, I highly recommend grabbing the magic rock candy. It has the highest luck buff of the game, and when combined with a good luck day, you can do some truly impressive things like find 18 prismatic shards in 1 day in the Skull Cavern. If you don't believe me, there is video evidence in the description below. At around midday, the 2 villager shops in the festival will open, with 2 NPCs being chosen at random to run the shops. Do not skip out on these shops, as almost every single NPC sells a unique decoration or weapon. The list of unique items that you can obtain from NPCs here is much too long, so I'm just going to highlight some of my favorites. If you've achieved combat mastery and you happen to get Alex at the stall during the festival, he sells what might just be my favourite item in the entire game, magic hair gel. When placed into your trinket slot, this trinket makes your hair constantly change colour just like the prismatic clothing, and I think it just might be maybe my favourite item. I know I say that about a lot of things, but just look at it. When Shane is manning the stall, he sells possibly the cutest wall decal in the entire game. It's just a bunch of chickens, just chilling, and it's so damn cute. Demetrius has a periodic table for sale, which is a really nice addition to your house if you have an office area set up. And George sells this very, very cute retro TV that, in my opinion, looks better than the normal ones from the catalogue. In as far as weapons go, depending on who you get at the stalls, you can find a bunch of interesting weapons. Haley's iron, Sam's old guitar, Elliot's pencil, Maru's wrench, and so many more. Now, with a total of 27 possible NPCs that can show up, it can be pretty hard to get the item that you're after. But there is good news, kind of, for PC players. All of the NPCs that turn up during the festival are seeded, meaning that you can predict who's going to show up on which day, kind of. There is a Stardew predictor online that you can find by just googling Stardew predictor, where PC players can upload their save and get all of the details they need. For example, you can find out that Alex won't be visiting your desert festival until year 7. Yay! But for real though, it can be useful to see who's going to show up so you know if you should hoard your eggs until the last day or not. There's a few other things to do around the festival. Of course, we have our good old friend the Shrouded Figure that you might recognize from the night market or other events. He'll send you home for 250 gold, but honestly, if you need to make a quick trip home and back, it's worth just bringing some farm warp totems with you to save money and time. Unless of course you have the return scepter, in which case it does not matter. The Traveling Merchant also makes an appearance with their usual randomized stock of goodies and different items for each of the 3 days, although it does not open until midday. Harvey also has a medical station smack dab in the middle of it all. If you get knocked out in the Skull Cavern, the good doctor will fix you up to 10 health, that is. You'll still need to heal yourself, but you won't lose any items other than 20% of the Calico eggs in your inventory, which can be quite a blow if you have a lot on you. However, considering that you don't lose any items when you get knocked out in the Skull Cavern, this actually might be the best time of year for people that are not used to the Skull Cavern or might be a little bit scared of it to try it out and see what it's like. Also, quick side note, can we talk about how bad Harvey is at his job? What do you mean you've only healed me for 10 points? You're a doctor. Who gave you your license? Down at the very bottom of the desert, you will find this interesting fellow selling free cactuses? I know that the plural of cactus is cacti, but that does not say cactus, it says cactus. Anyway, this guy will give you a random cactus once per festival. You're probably thinking, once per festival? How many festivals do I have to go to get every single cactus? Well, these cacti are randomly generated from a selection of 24 tops, 24 bodies, and 16 pots, all combined in every which way. If you do the math, that is a total of 9,216 different cacti. Good luck collecting them all. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Hopefully you found something useful to take away, and if you didn't, I hope it was at least entertaining. Thank you so much to Dino Technician and Katie for your Patreon support, and if you would like to support me even more, you can become a member of my Patreon. The link is in the description below, and it includes benefits such as weekly audiobook episodes. I'm currently reading through The Great Gatsby, and the full audiobook of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland is up and ready for supporters to listen to. You can also find the first couple of chapters for free if you want to give it a listen. I also stream on Twitch a few times a week. We do co-working streams and play through a wide variety of games from Stardew Valley to Baldur's Gate 3. We are currently playing through Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch too, and I would love to see you stop by. If you want to join my Discord and hang out with the community, you can find the link in the description. And yeah, I will catch y'all in the next video. Also, before I go, real quick, make sure to enjoy the games that you're playing, or else what's the point? Okay, bye!